We're gonna make linguine clams and a white cream sauce here at Rocco's. The ingredients are fresh pepper, basil, tablespoon of butter, fresh chopped garlic, baby whole clams with juice, half a cup of half and half, and fresh clams. These are manila clams. They're a little firmer and a little bit more solid clams. They're not real fatty. Okay, this is how we start out. We do high heat on a saute pan. Okay, we add garlic. Okay, now we want to let that garlic cook a little bit. So while it's cooking, because we want that little sizzle, we don't want raw garlic, we add our clams. Now, as you saw before, I showed you a can of baby clams. Those are the clams you're going to eat. Of course, you can eat these too, but these are the clams for show. These are the show clams. If you had a lot of clams like this only, then you'd have a bunch of shells. So the baby whole clams are great. Now keep in mind, these aren't chopped clams. These are baby whole clams. So you throw in the can of clams, and you get these anywhere at your local store. Make sure they're whole baby clams, okay? Then we can do a butter, a pinch of pepper, and fresh basil, okay? The one thing I did not add before was wine, okay? So this is the wine I didn't tell you about in my ingredients. I'm showing you now. White wine. This could be a table wine, any kind of wine that you'd like, okay? Don't open up a fresh bottle of white wine. Use the table wine you have at home. Then the last ingredient is half and half, okay? That's a half a cup of half and half. Now, anytime you're making white sauce, you'd use butter. A lot of people say, well, why do you have butter in it, you know? Well, if I was making marinara sauce clams, I wouldn't have any butter. If I was making a pesto sauce clams, I wouldn't use butter. So butter is something that you kind of have with a white sauce, because otherwise it'd just be too bland. Now on the linguine clams, you have to make sure, number one, it's at high heat. So you wouldn't be able to do this on an electric stove, and you probably wouldn't do this at a low BTU gas stove. It has to be high heat. Now, clams are sandy, obviously, because they come from the beach, you know. So make sure you wash the clams real good, because it could be gritty, especially inside. And you have to be careful. A clam, when it opens up, it will tell you if it's fresh or not. And you can see them opening up right now, okay? If you see that they're a little dark, or they're not opening up, that's pretty much telling you it's a bad clam. And you want to remove that before it ruins your sauce. So you can see it kind of bubbling over right now. Don't get nervous, keep it moving, because we want to reduce this. We want to reduce this for you to have a thicker sauce. Now you see how these clams are opening up here? These are fresh clams, okay? I'm looking now, this is what I'm doing here. I'm looking for a bad clam, because at times they're bad, okay? So we can see we're getting thicker, and it's reducing down. But then again, the high heat is so important. Now I have my pasta water here ready. This is going to be for my linguine. Now my pasta is pre-shocked. In other words, if you look over here and show the linguine, because we're a restaurant, it's already been shocked with hot water and then cooled down. This water here has salt in the water. You don't want to put salt in the water twice. If you're pre-cooking your pasta, you don't want to put salt water twice, because otherwise it would be too salty. So this has got a little salt in it. You can see the water's boiling. We're going to drop the linguine in there, and we're just going to shock the pasta, okay? So our clams here are getting close. You have about a minute left. Now, I'm making clams white. Now, if I was making clams marinara, you can use the same exact ingredients. Don't use the butter, and add a cup of marinara sauce instead of a half a cup of half and half. So again, if you were making clams marinara, you'd add a cup of marinara sauce, but you don't need the butter. Okay, so now I'm going to get my linguine here. Okay, generous portion. Now this is a very al dente, which I like to have, al dente pasta. Can you hand me a Red Bull, please? Okay, I'm not keeping it there very long because I want to keep it al dente. Okay, so we have a nice bowl here. This will show that you have white clams. So we want to make sure there's no water, because there's nothing worse than linguine clams is water, because then you have clam soup, and we don't want clam soup. Okay, so we're getting close here. Now these clams here are opening up, and they're firm. So we're going to take this. We call it the show clams. That's what these are called, show clams. Look how nice they look. They're big, they're open, they're fresh, they're firm. So that's what you use to make the plate more desirable, more attractive. Obviously you can eat them, but again, if you had a bunch of clams on there, you wouldn't have much of a sauce, okay? So you're reducing this down. Now, I'm going to throw in a little fresh grated Parmesan cheese on top of the pasta and a little bit in the sauce, just to give it a little thickener, you know. It'll give it a better chance to reduce. It gives it a little better flavor without adding salt. I don't want to add salt to fish. Least as possible, you want to add salt. So we're almost done there. So I'll put this up right here, okay? And we're gonna pour this sauce right over, okay? You can see how it's thickening up. The clams is thickening up right here, all right? Now I'm gonna pour this where you can see it. I'll go this way. All right, and we finish that off with a little fresh basil. We already have basil in there, just a little for show. You always gotta serve any kind of long pasta with a spoon, and that's a feast. So I want you to mangia and enjoy that. In fact, if you eat that, you'll be done. That will take